For my client, I chose that they were more towards integrity than they were despair. My client has had a few mishaps in life, but he says they have only made him stronger. He is very content with his life. His 2 kids and 2 grandchildren always put a smile on his face. He has a great social life. And he's saying, not that he doesn't have down days, he just has more good days than he does bad. He has learned through interaction among other people that his situation could be much worse, as he put it. And he always makes the best of what he has. He looks at his wife passing away as not a good thing by any means, but it could have been much worse if she was still around after the accident. So like I said, I chose integrity for his stage to where he would be at. Next, I'm going to cover these subjects and relate them to George. As far as race and ethnicity, George comes from a multicultural family. He has a daughter-in-law who was born and raised in the Dominican Republic. He said she is a great addition to the family and has brought many great recipes and traditions to his family. Socially, he learned more about another lifestyle through observation and interaction. There are different traditions that he is a part of because of his son and daughter-in-law and the granddaughter he has. As far as religion, George was raised a Catholic, and all of his children received their sacraments, and his 2 grandkids have been baptized. Going to church weekly gives him a sense of satisfaction. Also, for his wife, he had a Catholic burial, and he values that a lot. Going to church for George gives him a peace of mind and great sense of contentment when looking back at his wife's life. George to this day still goes to church every Saturday or Sunday and values that very much. He has many friends within the church that knew his wife and still communicate with him and come around to community events that George is a part of. George has always been middle class and always content with that. He worked hard for everything and gave his kids as much as he can. To George, money doesn't buy you happiness. He is very content with being retired and being on a fixed income, as he says. George has learned to interact with people in the community that are in the same predicament and situation that he is in. Also, for education, George was unable to go to college out of high school. He did receive a forklift license from his employer years ago. He did everything to make his kids go to college because he wanted them to have that opportunity that he did not have. George values education for his children, but for him personally, he did not feel a need to pursue his education at his point of life, as for he was very content with that. George did have some rough times. After his wife had passed away, he was in a depression, not wanting to go out with friends or do much of anything outside the home. He has made a big come around with that. As for he's very active in the community now and does a lot with his family. Also, during his battle with cancer, he was ongoing treatment for 6 months. The financial and mental strain was a battle. He had no hope at first when he was diagnosed and did not want to participate in any treatment. Both of these moments were a test for George, and he realized that he is stronger than he thinks he is. Without his family, though, by his side, he would not have been able to do what he has done. George has come across many different people throughout his life. His family is very close to him. Like I said earlier, he's a widower, has 2 children, 2 grandchildren, 3 siblings, and many cousins around still. His family has taught him a lot about what to be thankful for. As far as the community, George is a very active member for the watch group and is well known in his community due to the fact that he was raised there and currently lives there, and one of his children also resides in the same town. At community events, George's primary focus is on everyone around him. So when he is at these monthly meetings, he is solely focused on what he can better for his neighbors and other people in the community. Just because he's in that location and setting, he focuses on the community. For social policy, George is very thankful he never had to turn to the government to help him, even through the situations he's come across. He always thought to himself to leave it for somebody else that is in more need of it than himself. Also, George has been influenced a lot, has influenced his community a lot through his active role in the Crime Watch group. He enjoys the position because it keeps him active, and he meets a lot of people in the town, sometimes even people who are new to the area. Social sources have been there if George ever needed them. People have taught George by allowing him to serve the roles he does. Also, George knows when there is a serious matter in a certain location that he has to behave in a certain nature. One additional theory that I thought was relative to George's situation was systems theory. This theory views human behavior as the result of interactions between people and their social systems. Based on an effective system, our individual needs, rewards, expectations, and attributes of the people living in the system. Working for the same company for 30 plus years, he was involved in a very successful system. Also, he is an active member in the community system and keeps the community Crime Watch active and allows other members to join the meetings each month. Without these systems, George would not be as fulfilled as he is about his life and at the point he is at. The one theory that I kind of thought had some limitations was social learning theory. For George, he did not observe a lot growing up and in his career. As he told me, he taught himself a lot of what he does. Also, he learned a lot of his use with technology on his own. If George had a project to do, such as building a deck, he said he put his knowledge to the test and did it himself. He did not have much guidance when it came to learning certain things. So there were some aspects of this theory where I felt that George did not necessarily meet, but then again, being in the Crime Watch group, he learned a lot from the people around him by what they would bring to these meetings. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed.